Go.
All right, we are live on all platforms except for Instagram because Instagram doesn't let me go live with my thing because I'm Canadian and now I'm in Texas. I thought things would be different, but here we are to do your questions and answers today for you guys. But start dropping if you want. But we want to talk. We always get started with a topic because we know that quite often a lot of you don't even know who the fuck we are. Now we're Moral Marriage. We have the fastest growing marriage podcast in the world right now. James, 5,000 downloads yesterday, just about 4,700.
Wow.
Yeah, 2 months ago, we were getting only about 4,000 a week. 20,000 downloads a week right now. It's just booming. It's booming because we are going so freaking viral. The more people know about Moral Marriage, creating the new marriage. If you know anything about me, I've learned that I can't do everything on my own. And so we got James Tippins here on the feed with us, who has become our business partner. And he does a lot of work with identity, helping men and women with their anxiety, their insecurities, their fear-based decisions. And, today we wanted to talk to you guys about your failing marriage. One of the biggest things that we see is a false identity in truth, the truth you tell yourself, the lies that you tell yourself, because it's easier than saying, I have done things wrong. It's better to blame. Right. It's easier to say, I've tried everything. That's a big lie that we have to deal with people all the time. That's impossible that you've tried everything. That even if you've spent a ton of money like Catherine and me to learn, or a ton of money like James, a ton of energy in creating and innovating the therapy space, the counseling space, the coaching space, the marriage space, it's impossible to think you've tried everything. It just is. So it's such a stupid lie. You know what I mean? And then we have, a big lesson that we teach people. We teach people to teach others. Surround yourselves with people with the same tools, the same lessons. And essentially, as you teach, you learn faster. Something that's why we do so many coaching calls at Moral Marriage compared to any other coaching industry in any industry across the board. We don't do 3, we don't do 1, we don't do 6, we do 20 or more, right? I mean, this is a coaching call for you guys if you want to see it. Like, why? Because we know that the more we teach, the better we learn, the faster we learn. We start to analyze. But if we're not telling ourselves the truth, we're failing in our marriage. We're taking too much responsibility off of our own shoulders because we don't like feeling like we're shitty at this, right? We don't like hurting and sitting in our pain. Hey, James?
That's exactly right. Yeah. And it's so funny because the more people we talk to, the more people that come into our community and get into our programs and get into our coaching, it just solidifies what we've been saying from the very beginning, what you've been saying from the very beginning, and ever since I've been with you guys for the last year, is that the stories are all the same. We're all the same. We don't want to take accountability because it feels better to be a victim and to blame somebody else. And when someone calls you out on that, the first step of being successful in the context of growing is taking responsibility. Part of doing that is being flat honest about who you are and seeing yourself for who you really are. And so
Yeah,
it's
let's talk about the social media following, for example, right? If we look at Facebook, just Facebook alone, Facebook's the only platform where it's like, well, I haven't checked in a while, but last time I saw it was like 86%,
right.
averaging like 80 to 86% women following, right? Why? Because I'm holding men accountable with my content. Well, what's interesting is men are seeing Catherine's content now. She's never really been much for social media, and she's doing extremely well on my platforms. Okay. One post a day compared to my 5 or 6 with me talking, my voice. Okay. And what do we see? We see a lot of women leaving because automatically they have to take responsibility if Catherine's holding them accountable. And see, what the victims do is they go where they feel validated and they're lying to themselves. Okay. So if you are this is the same problem we had with a man who was trying to be a coach off platform, off our app. If you don't know about it, we have an app with tools, resources, and it's go.moralmarriage.com. I'll drop it in the comments here, not on TikTok though. Go.moralmarriage.com. And like he's going off app and coaching somebody and asking our coaches how to help this other person. And he's defying our mentor, our lead mentor, when he's asking for help. He's saying, no, I have a gift. I'm here to lead. You're literally fucking starting the conversation with asking for how to help someone. Doesn't that answer your own fucking question? Why are you lying to yourself? This truth that you tell yourselves when you're looking for validation, he's coaching for validation, okay, is holding you back in why you fail in your marriage. It's literally impossible to move yourself forward if you don't start giving yourself the hard truth. We talk about the easy examples all the time. right? Like, you want respect? When's the last time you were disrespectful? Slap yourself across the face and realize that. You
That's
know what I
right.
mean? Like,
That's right.
if you can't be honest with yourself, you can't say I've tried everything. Because when you are honest with yourself, you realize it's impossible.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, we we talk about this a lot, man. There's so many ways and so many places we could go with it, but it's just one of those things that it really is an unspoken issue. It's and when it comes to honesty, everybody would say they're honest. Oh, I'm honest. I'm not lying. I'm not deceiving. But honesty goes beyond that. Being honest with yourself is to be able to say, I probably don't know everything that I think I know. Just like you said when you started the call today, I've done everything. That's not true. Because in like 45 seconds, we can tell people, we can ask, have you done this? Have you done that? Have you shown up with respect? Then how the hell are you supposed to get respect if you're not giving respect? And it's not, and
Yeah.
then what happens? We justify. So there's a sense in which people are deceived. It's not like they're intentionally not being honest. They just are so good at lying to themselves that they don't realize they're doing it.
Yeah. So that brings up 2 points for me. If you're thinking about being honest, because a lot of people use that as a core value. That's fucking horseshit. You're either honest or you're not. That doesn't need to be a value. Just who the fuck do you want to be? But if you're going to go down that rabbit hole, why don't you say you want to be transparent? That's one of my core values. Why? Because if you're transparent, that encompasses honesty and accountability, which means any one of you could hold me accountable. Let me give you an example. I'm having a beer right now. Why? Because I'm really working right now. Should I be having a beer? Well, I'm going to work on my Corvette right after this. Catherine bought me a Corvette for Father's Day. Got it early. I'm getting it ready to paint. I feel like having a few beers and doing some work on my Corvette. So I'm having one right now while I talk to you guys. You can hold me accountable. Say, Cass, you said don't drink right now. I said don't drink if you can't handle your fucking emotions. Okay.
Right.
I didn't say don't drink. Okay.
That's right.
Now, let's the second thing I want to bring up is this really good example here from Amanda. Amanda says, I'm in a toxic marriage and it's bad. We aren't intimate. We fight all the time and he's abusive. And there was another comment on TikTok that said, I think it was from Northridge, maybe. He said something about wanting to lead. Okay, both those are really good examples with what we're talking about right now if you're being honest with yourself. If you see you're trying to become a leader in your home, and this could be a man or a woman. If you're watching, you're the one who should be leader. Okay. Now, what's a very common thing people will say? Well, my partner won't follow. My partner is a stubborn type A control freak, whatever. My wife is inner masculine would be one that men say all the time, right? All of that is not being honest with yourself. That behavior probably wasn't like that in the beginning, right? That you don't know how to lead would be the honest truth. What are the steps? Which in this case, I think another comment came through that where he said that, which is great. Most people, I didn't know how to lead either, man. And now Amanda's comment, you're in a toxic marriage and it's bad. And I want to touch on this because she said, we aren't intimate. We fight all the time and he's abusive. If you understand how this works, most of the time you're probably pushing his buttons. Is the abuse acceptable? Fuck no. But who do you want to be, Amanda? Is it acceptable for you to push back? James, the reason that reminded me of this is the last thing you said was you talked about being respectful, right? Catherine will tell you in a fight a lesson that she learned in the journey when I was emotionally, physically, and sexually assaulting her all the time. Okay. If you don't know that part of the story, I almost went to jail. Okay. My rock bottom. All right. Catherine will tell you that when you're in a fight, a lesson she learned is to go back in with gratitude. Right. And actually, that would be in our case, I would leave, come back, and fucking unleash again. Leave, come back, unleash again. And it's go on all night. Okay. Days on end. Excuse me. And it pisses people off, especially women who are being abused. And I understand why. But if you go in with gratitude, the abuse is now no longer justified. Not that it was justified.
Yeah.
But what do you think the abuser and the person doing this belligerent behavior is actually thinking? Right.
Right.
The night Catherine had to call the cops, she knows she pushed my buttons. I'll never tell you the story, and neither will Catherine. Nobody needs to go down that road. Okay? I don't know. I'd be comfortable with it, but Catherine's not. So it's her story, so I don't talk.
Right.
But I lost visual of you, James.
But I'll be right back.
Excuse me. But what you have to realize is if you're in an abusive relationship, who is it that you want to be? The behavior probably got worse, unless it's characterological, in which case, from the first date you were being abused, right? Probably not the case. It got there. It started to happen. The behavior got worse as you progressed. Be honest with yourself, because that's a woman or a man who can start to change themselves and start to show a leading example. Okay. What if you don't do anything? He just flips.
Exactly.
Okay. I doubt that's the case, Viking Muse. Probably a lot of little things happen. But here's the thing. Most of the time it's something stupid like that, right? He flips because the toothpaste list is cover is off. Okay. You're right. That's a stupid thing. But that's probably because that's not the thing. There's a lot of other things. You're both walking on eggshells. You always think it's you, but it's both of you. If one person's on eggshells, you're both on eggshells. Unless you've done the work like James teaches in our program with identity and freedom. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
Looks like people are firing the questions, James. So I'm just going to look. Why don't you speak for a minute here?
Let's go.
Fine.
Sure. Yeah. Something too that I always say when we have this conversation, Cass, is that some people hear what you're not saying, and they try to put words in your mouth. What they hear sometimes is, wait a minute, it's not my fault that I'm abused. No, he said it very clearly. The abuse is wrong. It's not justified. Here's the thing that we want you to understand. What we teach and what we teach to be embodied in our program and education is that you do everything that you can do if you want the relationship. Now, if you don't, just get out. But people come to us because they want to save, fix, or try to restore a relationship. So we give them the tools that actually work. And one of the things that we teach is that you take away any excuse or any problem that you bring to the table by becoming a person of structure, person of power, a person of control, a person of identity, a person of leadership. And that way, when a person who is abusive tries to point it back on you, you can just go, well, I know that's not true. Yeah. And there's never, so then they're lying. We both know that's not true.
Yeah.
That's right. You hold them accountable to it. So it's not like saying, endure, I'll just suck it up. No, this is very strategic, because what it does is it truly eliminates the lie that it's your fault. And it doesn't allow the abusive partner to justify their own sorry behavior, because everything they accuse you of is an absolute lie.
100%. Okay, what I can do with the echo, I think, you guys, is I can mute James. TikTok does not go off the streaming platform because I'm actually Canadian, and so it just doesn't let me do it. So I think what I can do is mute my computer when James is talking, and I think everybody will still hear it. Okay, let me know when I try that next time. Okay, I give in just to not make my day miserable. See, that's an honest truth, and that is valuable. If you know that, you can do something about it. Appeasing or fawning or people pleasing, happy wife, happy husband, happy life, you're not going to ever make a change and get where you want to go. Okay, especially if that's out of fear, because you don't want to be miserable. You don't want that abuse.
Right.
Okay, so what you guys can start to realize is, if you can be that honest, okay, then you can be able to come up with a solution. Right. I need a transparent conversation on emotional and mental neglect. Well, if you're talking about doing that with your partner, if you're not connected, that transparent conversation will mean nothing. Okay. So you have to start to show up in ways that inspire them so that they want to be moving forward because they feel connected. Right.
Right.
Jacob Main says, I've been trying to send my wife Catherine's videos, but she hasn't been receptive to them. No shit. That's the same as the women. We get you guys to send them, but like, it's really hard on a social media post to explain everything. So here, let me do it right now. If you are a little bit connected, or it does seem like your partner is in, that could be in and then out. Okay. If people are moving forward, you can definitely send them a reel, right? But otherwise it comes across as passive aggressive. Will you be better off sending a reel about what you realized for a mistake? Is this something that I do? Is this something that, like, wow, what a douche. I've been such a prick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so essentially, when you understand that, just type your question in, please. When you understand you being transparent and being accountable for the person you want to be, you cannot fail knowing where you're moving, knowing where you're going, because after a while, you just won't tolerate it. Okay. They either jump on board or they don't. You invite them, but you're not contemptuous anymore. If you have to grow, they have to grow. And everybody here that's listening to us or finds us has to grow. Okay. My wife I just posted a reel of my wife talking about one of your husband checks out. But we talk about it so much on our podcast. It's called Moral Marriage. Just Google Moral Marriage Podcast on Facebook. I can type the link. And you can jump right on there, and you'll be able to see. We go into so many details with this connection and how you connect and how you be authentic and who you want to be, and we hold men and women both accountable. Just my content speaks to men because I think it's so much faster if a man just fucking wakes up. You know what I mean?
That's it.
But anyways, I met him and he was an addict. I believe he has narcissistic personality. Don't go down the labels. We just did an episode that just released on the it's not out yet. I don't think it might be on narcissistic attachment theories. Don't go down the rabbit holes. If you're learning from me, just in case you don't know, I'm a self-aware, managing severe narcissist. People can change. Hi, I'm Cass. I used to be Ryan. I used to abuse the fuck out of my wife. And now we lead the world in 126 countries with our podcast, with our app, and with our programs. Okay. And if you started with him when he was an addict, I mean, that's a red flag that you missed. You probably didn't miss it. You probably
take responsibility for that.
You have something that you need to work on. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to unmute. So James, I can't hear James if I keep him muted. Fuck. You guys get all.
Can you just, let's see.
Sorry, guys.
Why don't you turn down the, is your phone on? Is your phone volume on?
TikTok picks up everything too, right? Because it's not on. I can't do it through StreamYard. It won't let me.
Oh, yeah.
It won't let me do that custom RMTP or whatever. If you guys know what you're doing with that shit, please send me a DM.
Yeah.
All right. I have Googled and tried. And, anyway.
Crazy stuff. All right. So what we're looking like with the questions here. We got
this is a really good one. Did you know, this is from Smith Chris, did you believe that you were guilty of sexual assault at the time you were doing it? Or did you believe that you were doing nothing wrong? We don't know that we're doing it wrong. Now, if you understand how we feel and view this at Moral Marriage, it's like this. It starts with a woman checking sex off the to-do list. Okay. That could be a man too, by the way. We're getting a lot of DMs on this now. Okay. A lot of people asking about this in Catherine's program. Okay. And from the podcast. So if a partner is doing it to appease you, maybe manage the emotions out of fear because you're worried about, getting yelled at or the temper tantrum or whatever from the partner. Okay. Then that is the role that you play in that. And we believe do you remember that conversation you had I think you just left my house 2 times ago, and we were talking, James, and I was trying to explain to Catherine about how if a wife is doing job sex, checking off the to-do list, and how it feels for a man, because it feels to her, she doesn't realize it, but like she's being raped, right? Because she's not consenting. When Catherine understood that, her mind was blown all these years in this marriage stuff. And she was just like, what? No. And then there were times though, Chris, that I was blackout drunk doing crazy things to Catherine. And the next day she would tell me. And there's 2 things that happen. 1, you do recognize it. 2, you feel so guilty and so ashamed that you fight. You pull back. You say, no, you told me I could do whatever we want. We could have sex anytime we want. You tie into past memories and whatever you think is allowed, and you justify your actions. Again, you're not being truthful. Okay.
Right.
Jolene, perfect. Jolene's in our program. It takes a lot of hard work and patience, but it is possible to create a new marriage. Yes, that's right. Everybody gets blamed for everything. Amanda, your story is not special, girl. Right now, you're defending yourself the whole time and you're blaming him today. Right? I understand. But if you're truthful with yourself, who do you want to be? That woman I just mentioned, Jolene, her husband was very abusive, in my opinion, but she stood in her own strength and they're moving forward. Okay. What if you don't know where you're going or what you want to? Okay. So every man and every woman, they get this all wrong. This is what James partnered with Catherine and me in our business, is because you identify who you are with your partner, your career, if you have one, and your kids, moms, especially with kids, men, especially with their wife and their job. Okay. And then we're hearing a lot more from women who are identifying with their husband, meaning, for example, if you're married to a narcissist, now you're identifying with that, right? That's not who the fuck you are. None of those things are anything special. That's all normal shit. Who's the man or woman behind all of that, right? Then you know where you want to go. That's why you can be respectful, have gratitude, not have contempt as your partner's just flipping on a switch like somebody mentioned earlier, and you stand in your own strength and you know who the fuck you want to be. That's right? If you don't know that part of the story, Catherine didn't tolerate my abuse anymore, but she sure fucking loved me in a different way that inspired me to wake up. Okay. And now I can teach everything I teach today. Okay.
That's right.
James, I'm going to just unmute you. I want you to go for a minute.
Yeah, and I think it's important to understand, everybody, is that we are speaking from the context of individuals who want to actually make a difference and lead their relationship into a new place. The the tension between, oh my God, this is horrible and I'm a victim, to I want to create something new, is the space where the growth happens. And
Yes.
so when you get told, hey, listen, you're defending yourself, it doesn't mean that what you feel is not right or true. You are a victim, you are blamed for everything. But the question is, who do you want to be? And if you stay in the I'm being blamed, it's not my fault, why can't they change? It's 100% guaranteed that it's going to end in disaster, because
Mm,
that doesn't make change. Asking someone else to see the truth when you aren't seeing the truth is absolutely hypocritical, but at the same time you don't really know that you're doing it. So you've got to get to a place where you see that coaching you to the right mindset requires you to stop at saying, hey, I'm a victim here. Is it true? Yes, but victimhood is what happened to you, it's not who you are. Who you are is someone who gets out of the way, leads, goes where they want to go, provides structure to show the other person, to show the spouse what it could look like. If they don't follow you, that's not on you. But what happens typically in a relationship is both of you are beating each other over the cliff, trying to see who falls off first.
yeah, correct.
Wonder why you're almost off the cliff. And you don't see that your tug of war, there's nobody tugging in the right direction. You're both tugging at the edges of the cliff and you're going to fall off either way.
Here,
So
this is an example we use almost every week, but for those of you who are new, it's like you almost both always want the same fucking thing. But let's face it, nobody wants to be sitting in their pain. That's just what we gravitate towards. So you're looking at a vase and one of you sees pink flowers, one of you sees blue flowers, and you start pushing each other off the cliff. How could you be such an idiot? You don't see the flowers? I'm not colorblind. Defending yourself, attacking your partner, instead of turning the fucking vase around and looking at you're both right. You know what I mean? And so
that's right.
if you could look at that cliff example, like we want the same thing. We don't want to fall off the cliff. Instead of trying to pull yourself away from the ledge, what if you led your partner away from the ledge? Okay. And the problem with most people is you're not going to do that because you're going to get into, well, Catherine calls it dictumhood. I think that's what the episode's called on our podcast. But we went from victimhood to dictumhood in the episode. If you don't know, Catherine almost never knows the topics at hand when we're going to go speak on the podcast. And then she just gets into it. And some of the episodes just get her going. And what we've realized is you act like a fucking dick because you're a victim. Okay. Because it's easier to not have your self-worth attacked when you don't feel like you're getting what you need.
That's right.
It's just easier to blame your partner. Like, so James says from your, not my James still says, from your vantage point, what is the common reason that I'm afraid to do the work and change? It's because change is hard. And the pain of what you're going through has to be greater than the pain that change is going to come with. That's it. It's that simple. You have to decide it's time to do something different. For example, you're watching this right now and you heard us say you're defined by your spouse, your job, if you have one, and your children.
Right.
And we're telling you that is a problem. That is the problem. You can learn from my book. You can Disrupting Divorce. You can learn from Catherine's book, Behind the White Picket Fence. But all you're doing is copy and pasting skills and you're still defined by your spouse. You're never going to get there. You need to know who you are. So important. In fact, that's why we partnered with James, right? Because he's really fucking good at it. I did it accidentally. That's what resonated with James. And he's like, I got a system. We're like, boom, let's go. Right?
Let's go.
And why is this so important to understand, guys? It's really, really simple. Because it'd be like this guy I had on a phone call today. James, 10 times, 10 separate examples, I explained how it was always going back to his wife. He did not understand that I couldn't even, I said, I can't invite you to my program. I didn't send him a link, nothing. That's not like me. People need to think, or, I need to talk to this some more, show some more information. Absolutely. Because I need you to trust us. Okay. This guy, I'm like, I'm not sending you shit. I'm not giving you 10 examples in an hour phone call. And you still think this is all about your wife? You, my friend, call a divorce lawyer. Because unless you want to be someone new and get out of your comfort zone, so James, still, this is for you, and make the changes, you are going to repeat your patterns. And guess what? When just abusive or toxic or struggling marriage fails, because it will, because you ain't doing anything, then guess what? You're just a repeat the patterns. Why do you think second divorce rates are higher? Why do you think third divorce rates are higher? Fourth marriages, divorce even higher than that. You think we make this shit up? There's only one thing you can do, and it ain't your partner, it's you. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, that's right. And it's such a hard thing to Cass, and it should be said every time we do go live. It's not the standard. It's not the standard way that the world does marriage counseling and marriage
No.
therapy and identity therapy and all this other kind of stuff. And it's not the standard modality for coaching, because most coaches are just giving you toolkits, and they just adopted or developed these toolkits based on learning rather than experience. And so if I want to know how to get somewhere, I want to find someone who's been there where I am now and gone to where I want to go. And I know that sounds like a sales pitch, but it's absolute wisdom. It's like kindergarten wisdom. If I
You,
want to know how to write, I need to find somebody who knows how to write.
yeah, you know why that's such a great comment? Because somebody here, and Ashley says, I'm at the point of divorce, so sick of being mentally and emotionally hurt and controlled. Ashley, if you can't grasp what James just said, and you might have to watch it again. Maybe, I don't know if you can do that on TikTok, but you can definitely go to our Facebook and do that, or YouTube. But if you can't grasp that, Ashley, you're going to be controlled in the next relationship. Now, you think you won't, but you'll become so masculine trying to control everything so that you don't get hurt, because none of this is real. You are not being emotionally controlled. You are letting yourself be controlled. I have a reel. I smashed the TV here for TikTok. I'll show you. Look at that TV that's smashed. That's coming out here soon. It's being edited. And I call you guys up. Not out. I call you up. Women, you're not financially abused. What the fuck, man? Why did I smash a TV? Because you can fucking stop watching it and start learning on YouTube. Your marriage sucks? How much are you diving into my podcast? You know what? You guys think you're learning. Like Kimberly says, I've learned so much. I don't know if you guys are in the program or not, because I don't recognize the last name. But, you know, it's actually ridiculous. It's less than half of the views on a day-to-day basis of the podcast on the weekends. So what does that mean? That more than half of you, hi family, more, okay. Got it. Riddick's covering up his junk because he's walking through the pool. Thank you. My son still likes to do the naked thing. All right.
He's the naked guy.
Yeah, I can tell that most of you, more than half of you, don't actually give a fuck. How do I know? Because on the weekends you take a break. What? Partying? Watching movies? How do I have 5,000 downloads of an episode of my podcast yesterday, or sorry, of the whole podcast, and then watch on the weekend? It's going to be less than half. It'll probably be like 1,500. Like, that means that you're not doing everything you can. So you guys have to start doing more. Get off your ass. You think it was easy when I lost the gym? Broke? You think I had money for a program? A book? No, I lost my house. I lost my vehicles. I lost all my shit. By the way, that's when I saved my marriage. And we were probably more abusive than what you guys are going through. Meaning I was a really bad fucking man. I'm an actual narcissist. Most of you guys just label your partner. You know what I mean? Most of you,
That's right.
And every time you do that, all you guys commenting, my partner this and blame your partner that, every one of these comments, we could put that into the DSM, which is where they measure narcissism. And we could say, you're on the spectrum. Congratulations. Like, get real with yourself. This episode is about being honest with yourself. Because if you want more, how much are you doing to do more? Pay attention to what James just said before I went on this rant, right? And somebody mentioned on TikTok and on Facebook, you guys, why are you having so much? Do you think it's fun to have conversations about the issues? Do you think that's exciting? No, you think you need to do that. James said we do things unconventionally. Yes, we do. Why? Because we recognized it wasn't fun to talk about the bullshit. It didn't work. Yeah. Why do you think you're still doing it? It's not working, right? Yeah. What you have to do is learn how to create a new person, man or woman, create a new life, and be more exciting. And then, yes, you'll address the issues that matter. But most of you are addressing issues that aren't even the fucking problem. Let me give you a classic example. When one of you wants sex and one of you doesn't want sex, but we needed to connect. Why don't you want me? That's not the issue. The issue is that you're actually disconnected and you want to talk about how to connect. Awkward. Don't you see how stupid that sounds? It's no wonder people fucking fail. You guys choose to do what you want by surrounding yourself with people who don't even know. Our top competitor, I say it every week on the podcast, our number one competitor in this industry has never even been fucking married.
Yeah.
Never mind saved his marriage from abuse, toxicity, narcissism. You know what I mean? Like sexless. Like Huh? He couldn't possibly. He's never been married. And people
Right.
fucking buy from this man. You guys are getting sold, man. You get on a
That's right.
call with us. You get on a call with James, me, Catherine, DMing with one of our coaches in the app. We don't sell you. We don't say, oh, that must feel awful. Fuck, yeah, it must be so hard to be so unheard, so
Yeah.
unseen. You
You ready
just
to
want to
push
talk
your
about the
car?
issues. I get that. Oh, wow, that's frustrating. Do you want me to give you the magic fucking pill? Shut the fuck
It's a
up.
cookie.
What's
Yeah.
that?
I said, you ready to push your own car up the hill? Let's go.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
Exactly.
You talk about,
Everybody's not in
it's
the
funny.
program
I
yet.
had a conversation with a young person this morning and a little emotional about how they're just not getting anywhere in life and not doing this and not doing that. And that the question was, well, what are you investing in? So you
Yeah.
want to see this in 2 or 3 years. What are you investing in right now?
Mm-hmm.
And the answer was, well, I don't know. And I said, okay, when you get up, what do you do? When you go to bed, what? And it turned out almost 7 hours a day flipping through the damn phone. Now, nothing wrong with that. If you come to me at the end of every day and go, man, look at this. I did this, that, and I spent 7 hours on the phone. If you can do it all, do it all. Great. But don't say you don't have the upper hand, because that was the conversation. I just don't have the opportunity that other people have. That's nonsense. You don't take it. Now, why? We talked a couple of weeks ago about the inner critic. The inner critic is
Mm-hmm.
that voice inside of you that is complacent, that lies, that blames, and it only shows up when you're trying to grow. And you know what I said a minute ago? I said that space between the person that you are and the person that you wish you were, that discomfort, that's where the growth happens. And that's when that voice gets the loudest. And so you have to say to yourself, I don't know what to do here. I'm not a leader. I'm not a person that has everything together. I'm not a person that knows what to do. I am responsible 100% for everything that I did to bring this relationship to where it is. And I'm 100% responsible for myself and how it's going to change. You're not responsible for the other person. But this is what we're talking about today. So when we start talking about, Netflix and games and all this other stuff, there's nothing wrong with that stuff. But don't dare stand up and say, I did all I could. I didn't know, I couldn't make it. It didn't work when that's what you do. It's the same way that people, they leave our program because they get a little bit of success. In other words, they get back in the bed or they get back, the fighting stops, they get status quo, baseline, normal, and they go, okay, guys, thank y'all so much. I'm not going to be in your program anymore. And then a month or two later, it's like, it didn't work because they didn't do the work.
I'll tell you what.
And
I tell you what. I had a guy. I'm not going to say his name publicly, but we had a guy. You know the story, and he said to me the words, "I didn't think it was worth it." Hi, baby cakes. He said to me, "I don't think it's worth it." I go, "Did you not get back in your home, build a relationship with your children, and your wife is so grateful for the type of father you are now," which was their main reason she kicked him out. Okay,
right,
and he said yes, yes, and yes. And then the motherfucker got into the DMs today trying to get into coaching. Needs more coaching. Obviously, there's things that are issues, right? And then I said, well, reach out to Dennis because I don't handle that, right? He said, I will. And the motherfucker wanted free coaching from Dennis. He said it's not worth it again. Motherfucker needs help. You get into this fucking space between, man. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
you hold yourself back. Like literally trying to fix it on your own. It's so stupid to me. You know what I mean? Because if you realize that like James, you said earlier, other people have been where you've been. Somebody said just a minute ago, every time I've only been here with you for 3 weeks, but every time it's like you're telling my whole story. That's why we're so viral and dominating the field in 126 countries. That's why our podcast went from 4,000 downloads a week 2 months ago to nearly 20,000 a week today in the last few weeks. Okay.
right.
You can't stop us because nobody has gone through what Catherine and I went through. Nobody's gone through what James has gone through. Nobody builds their program and then adds more to it. Everybody builds their program and then they go sell their program. Nobody says, I'm going to do a lot more coaching for you guys. And I'm going to make sure that we have fucking 20 calls a week. You find that in a program somewhere. Now, women, I'll just be transparent. Women, you don't get that many with Catherine, but we have, I don't know what it is, like 8, 10. It's still more than the average.
It's,
you know what I mean?
It's ample. It's more than you need.
Yeah. And then, what else? I mean, you guys don't even know. I think we spend $10,000 a month to produce social media content for you guys. You can learn a lot. You know what I mean?
Yes.
The podcast ain't fun. Dude, I mean, I love it. It's actually a date for me and Catherine, but I mean,
It's work.
it's a lot of work to get a
It's
podcast
work.
out 3
Yes, it
episodes a
is.
week, highlighting what your comments are, what your questions are, to give you a deeper episode so you can have more on a topic, looking at what's viral and what you want to know more on, right? Nobody's doing that. It's
Yeah.
a story, or stories, I should say, because now James is getting out and his content's getting out too. So it's our stories. It's the success stories, like 5,300 people in 3 years, just over 3 years. Okay. And it's incredible how much you guys are responding to it because you understand. Somebody said on TikTok earlier, finally, somebody who's not giving a bunch of nonsense. Straight to the fucking point, guys. I don't know about you, but I like rapid. I like the red eye. If I knew now what I like, if back then when I was going through the shit, hey, James, wouldn't it been like, oh, Jolene says for the women here, the support system with white picket fence is amazing, as are the calls. Yeah, Jolene's one of the coaches, women in the program. Everyone, did you guys know that our coaches volunteer their time until they become on the payroll? It's they want to be involved in changing the world.
For
Disrupting sports
years.
for years. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
not like
unreal.
2 weeks, for years.
Yes, for years. Like, so just understand if you're tired of the bullshit, then watch the podcast. Don't get on a phone call. Don't DM us like a fucking novel. That's so entitled. That's really rude. I get like personally, I get thousands of DMs in a day or two. You know what I mean? It wasn't that bad, but it was like over a week. But rapidly, it's changing. I can't read a novel, but I can help you if you're in a program. So can Catherine. But go through what you're learning, apply. Those of you who can listen to the podcast. Bill Brady's one of our ambassadors. He's talking about it earlier. Listen to the podcast around your checked out abusive spouse. You know what I mean? Somebody said they were stonewalling or shutting down. I can't remember what it was. Like pay attention to that. That's not cool. That is part of the problem. I'm glad you recognize that. Telling yourself the truth, and you can start to move yourself the way you want to go if you're actually honest. And then somebody asked a question earlier about James, the question just popped up on the live. I didn't even know that could happen.
Hey, that's cool.
Yeah, I didn't know that could happen. Maybe I did something
We learned
nasty with
something.
my hand. Somebody asked a question earlier about like basically sort of like timeline, and Bill mentioned something about what we teach in Moro is called the patience formula. Okay, but essentially it goes like this, guys. You inspire, that's while you're learning. You lead, that's when you know what the fuck you're doing. Then you ask, and you're patient, and you invite your partner, and then you don't look at boundaries for leaving. Look at boundaries for motivating them to move them along. The example we talked about on the podcast, which is the one we like to use, it's easy because we like to coach on calls with this. So don't take this as you're being coached right now. I ain't talking to you. I don't know your story. Okay. But
That's right.
The example that Catherine teaches for the lesson with our inspire, lead, ask, motivate with a boundary would be like, so you're showing up as an example. You've learned I definitely can't have my phone on if my partner's on the phone. I want to be present in the relationship. Okay, cool. Inspiring. Now I'm leading. My phone is, I don't have one to show you. They're all being used. My phone is down on the kitchen counter when I'm with my partner, with my kids, and I'm leading. I'm not mad at them. They're supposed to learn to follow. Okay, then I'm going to ask them, hey, babe, on a Friday night, would you be cool with like putting your phone away for at least 2 hours so we can do the family thing? Or on a date night, can we just leave the phones in the vehicle? I'm with who I want to be with. Notice I smiled and I had a little fun with that, right? I'm asking them to join. Okay.
Oh,
And then
yes, I think your internet went down.
my internet went down.
Oh, you're back. Let's go.
Oh, okay. Okay. So inspire. You are learning. You know not to use the phone. You're present. 2, you lead. You lead by example. Your phone is down. 3, you ask. And you're like, hey, babe, on a Friday night, can we just have 2 hours with the family? On date night, can we just leave the phones away? Those are 2 separate asks. Don't do it at the same time. Okay. And you ask them to join you. And if you do that a few times, only you know the amount of times, but it's a minimum of 3 when we teach it. Okay. You might say, hey, babe, because now it's 4. I'll say it's 4 or say it's 10. How patient were you? Hey, babe, you know what? When you bring your phone out and you're not present with us, that I feel frustrated. So the next time you do that, I'm just going to take the kids. Catherine's example is to McDonald's Playland. Okay. And then they don't understand. They don't do it. They don't give a fuck, whatever. Then you fucking go to McDonald's Playland the next time they do it. You don't warn them.
Yep.
You don't remind them. You just say, babe, we'll see you later. We're going to McDonald's. and you go. And if they come back to you and I'm sorry, I'll put the phone away. That's okay. Maybe we can try again next week. I'm disappointed. That's called motivating with a
Yep.
boundary. And notice I'm not
Yep.
saying, when are you leaving? Where the fuck are you going? This is happening. It's a divorce. Why are you jumping to the head shit? The head shit. I don't know what that means. Head shit. Why are you jumping to the fucking headship, meaning leading divorce? Why? What the fuck was all the work for then? You never inspired or led in the first place then. That's the
That's right.
problem with you guys. Be honest with yourself. So to answer your question earlier, it's a process. Are you going to honor your vows? Most people leave for vows they never even spoke. Right?
That's
They
right.
don't stay for the ones they did.
Over on TikTok, there was a question I saw said something about did you believe that Catherine was actually going to divorce you? Um, let's see, how was it?
Yeah, 2
Did
divorce
you
lawyers.
think Catherine really wasn't going to file for divorce after multiple something? I can't read it.
I don't know the exact question, but here's the thing. So I was emotionally abusive towards Catherine every single day, like every day. I picked a fight with everyone in my life all the time, daily. And the woman I was with got the brunt of it. The woman I loved the
Mm,
most, Catherine, because I felt the self worth issue that we talk about all the time. I needed her for approval because if she disagreed, even just a disagree, I would just make that be a fight. Okay.
right.
And um, divorce, Catherine. Oh, sorry, that was only part of it. Then there was the physical, mostly intimidation. I call it abuse online. Catherine calls it intimidation because I didn't actually hit her, but I threw her out of the house. I flipped her out of a bed. I spat hot coffee in her face. Coffee doesn't
Mm,
bother me. She blows Catherine's mind today. She needs like 5 minutes to 10 minutes for that coffee to cool down. I can take a boiling hot coffee in my mouth and then spit it. And so it'd be very hot for her, right? But it doesn't bother me. Okay. So I did things like that. And then, of course, screaming at her, clapping in her face, towering over her. The night I got arrested in charge of assault, I broke the couch she was on. I broke the headrest right off, pushing it and things like that. I went in and did whatever I wanted when I was blackout drunk to my wife, pick a hole. Okay. Like I did a lot of bad fucking things. Okay. A lot of bad. I was a very bad man. And Catherine had 2 divorce lawyers at 2 separate times. Actually, to be honest, I don't remember if it was 2 separate times or two separate times. I can't remember, but
yeah.
that's because it wasn't me. It was her lawyers. Okay.
Yeah.
We separated 7 times. That could have been 3 days. That could have been 7 days. And there was 2 or 3 for 30 days. Okay. And or more, give or take. The restraining order that kept us apart for 30 days. And I probably slept on the couch like 200 times. I don't know the actual numbers. Okay. Somebody says, is divorce the only option? No, the only option is to fucking grow up. Right. All of that
Yeah.
stuff, Catherine would tell you, she enabled. She didn't put a stop to it. You guys, if you don't know, we dated for 30 days and got married, which
Mm,
means she could have left for sure. But she realized, well, I married this man and there was good in this man, but she had to find that good. Meanwhile, I was forced to grow up or else I was going to go to jail. Cops came for speeding ticket to go to jail. So was it the only option? No. Divorce is not the only option. That's just what people tell you it's okay. Stop talking to people who tell you to quit. You know why people are broke too? When 98% of, maybe it's 95%, I can't remember, of businesses fail? Because people tell you to quit and you're like, yeah, it's too hard. Like, you guys, fuck. That's why people are overweight and they don't finish their goals at the gym. It's the same shit no matter what. Tell yourself the truth. I don't want to. You've enabled everything to get where you want it to go. Stop. Be the fucking person you want to be. In Catherine's case, I did a lot better and she didn't accept it. Excuse me. I was growing up. She didn't allow it. She anchored me. She'll tell you now, don't do that. She'll say, be the woman you want to be. Stand in your own strength. Right? Live up to the woman you want to
that's
be.
right.
Don't tolerate the abuse, but love and be respectful and be grateful. Be full of gratitude. Affirmations, edify. I tell men to submit to their wives. Catherine will tell women to submit to their husbands. I tell men to expect less sex and be more gentle with the need for it. Catherine will say, go for it, girls. Right? Notice everybody's being told to be the best man and woman they could be.
That's right.
That's it. But everybody that comments is almost always like, whether that's now or whether it's on social media, or until you're ready for change, everybody's like, oh, my partner this, my partner that. There's not one
Yeah.
thing in my wife and my thing that's not really about somebody taking responsibility for themselves. That's
Yeah.
it. You know what I mean?
Yes, there's a question here on TikTok from Janine. I don't know if I lost about 30 seconds worth of what you were saying there. I'm not sure if you addressed it or not, but she says, "How do I deal with a man struggling with childhood trauma? Is more looking for a mother than a wife." We get that a lot.
We
We
get that a
get that a
lot.
lot.
That's like
And
a major quality of our we call it an avatar, right? When you talk about business,
yeah,
of the man that we help, that's a massive quality. He's you're supposed to be his mom, and
yeah,
it's sad. It really, really is sad. But
yeah.
what's her actual question? How do I deal?
I mean, how do you deal with it? That a man who's struggling with childhood trauma, and basically what it is she's mothering him through this trauma. I mean, we've got a lot, we'd say different things to him than we would to you, but ultimately you have to know that your identity is not found in your care to your husband. And your care to your husband as a wife has nothing to do with being motherly to him. His trauma and his emotions are not your responsibility, but you have to hold him accountable to those things if he wants to get the help and grow. And secondly, you have to stop giving the care that's causing you to be contemptuous, because it's not good. It's not helping him at all, but it's also hurting you. And I know, Cash, you
100%.
probably have more to say.
Yeah, I would just keep it really, really simple. Like, is if you know who you want to be, that person can be, especially as a woman to a man, that person can be very loving, empathetic, nurturing, but you're not his mom, right?
Right.
So you can love him, but like if you know anything about us, like we don't give a fuck about your childhood trauma, man. I got some, you got some, James got some. We can all throw it around and have a big fucking trauma party, pity party. But what the fuck? That doesn't do anything. That's one of the reasons why
We.
counseling doesn't do anything for you. What's that?
Hmm. I just said let's have a party.
Let's have a fucking trauma party. Who gives a fuck, right? But he has to want more for himself, and maybe that's something that you have to talk about. You're not supposed to be his
Hmm.
therapist. You're not supposed to be his fuck. And this goes both ways. Neither of you are supposed to be the therapist or the counselor. You know, if he needs to deal with that and unpack that, he needs to find somebody like us who snaps you out of it. Like, do you give a fuck about what my parents did to me, or do you just want to know how I got out of the mess I was in? That's usually what people care about, right? Unless you're sitting in your pain. But then why would we enforce that for you? I don't want you to sit in your pain. You know what I mean? So taking steps to not be his mother would look like this. Like you can, it's okay to be there for him, but to say something like, you know, honey, I really appreciate that this is hurting you and this is where you come from. And I want to know more, but we're having the same conversation every day. Do you think there's another step? See, you're
Yeah.
in, so you lead, right?
Mm.
So you invite him curiously to think about, is there a better fucking way? Rather than say, you should go to therapy. I'm not your therapist. See, now you're not a partner, right?
No
Okay.
trauma dumps.
Yeah, no trauma dumps. Exactly. Good example. Yeah. I'm so sick and tired of it. But there's other examples that might apply to as well. I mean, that could cut over to like, you know, the way he doesn't help around the house and you feel like his mother there. And now you're feeling like it. We see this stuff all the time. It compounds. So by the time somebody is sick, let's say, they're like, I can't fucking take care of you. And then you get the victim in the DM that's like, I have cancer and all this stuff. But yeah, he's been taking care of you for so long. He feels like
Mm.
you're not connected. Probably without even knowing you, you're not having sex. That's a big thing for him, right?
Right.
If you start looking at all the truth, being honest with yourself in your failing marriage, you'll realize everything led up to this. You know, yes, your partner would be a huge douche to leave you because you have cancer, but what led up to that? Why is that different than yes, your partner is a huge douche and having an affair? What led up to that, right? Or you got the divorce papers. See, everybody's so surprised that it's all over instead of just going or like where you're at right now. But your story's not unique. Your story's your story, so it hurts the most for you. That's it, right? Most
Yeah.
of you aren't dealing with the way that I treated Catherine, just some level of it. But the
Right.
symptoms and the treatments are what you're dealing with right now, unless you're
That's
working
right.
with us, it's the symptoms, and that's why you resonate, right? And then parts of the story resonate, right? Stephanie Phipps says, how do you get involved in the program? I'm the wife, got married 20. Okay, so listen, if you want to get married in the program, I said married in the program. That's so weird. If you want to get involved in the program, which I guess be like married, people stay with us for life.
Yeah, yeah, married with
Um,
us.
but yeah, we got big plans for people coming to the program. But here's the thing: the very first thing is our absolute request is that you don't try to DM us a novel and you don't try to book a call with us because we take all of our calls personally. We do that because you are not to be sold to do something like this. You need to have
That's
a
right.
conversation where it's a logical decision, where you're ready to take the leap of faith in yourself to become who you want to be. Because everybody comes for saving a marriage, and what we actually sell is freedom. And in that freedom, you create a new man or a woman who offers and invites their partner to the new marriage. Life is better with you. Okay. So what that means is we prefer heavily that you go to the podcast and you listen and binge as much as you need to, because you hear us talking like this. You hear Catherine, my perspective. I just put a request into the board this week so that people like our partner James, Catherine has a business partner Renee, we have a lead mentor Dennis. I'd like to have you guys get to know them on our podcast because they're part of our story now. Okay.
Yeah.
And you can get to know their perspectives, the stuff that they're seeing as well. They all have specific roles. And so we're going to be bringing that in. We want you guys to know us because on a call, we want to get to know you and coach you. We don't want to sit there and listen to your trauma for your childhood shit, your marriage shit. We want to know the problems and we want to say, okay, this is what it is looking like. And we go to coaching on you that call. So step one, podcast, get to know us, please. Otherwise, it's really a pain in the ass. You know, we got to sit there and explain who we are, what we do, and all that shit.
Yeah.
The two,
Don't have time.
I mean, it'd be different if we were just trying to sell you. I mean, yeah, then we wouldn't need to do it that way. Two, then you can send a DM and you can say apply, and we can send you the link to apply. We have a video for men, and we don't have one for women because men inherently don't ask for help. So we have to show them why they need help. Women are more prone to self-help. I mean, more women have bought my book than men, like thousands more women have bought my book, you know? So the idea would be that you'd be ready to move forward. And then we have a plan for everybody. That's it. Alternatively, when you know us in the podcast and you want to see how much we have to offer and give, we give away so many resources, tools, systems. That's on our app. Okay. So I'll put the link to the podcast here again on the live. And I'll put the link to the app here as well.
Something that when we look at where we want to go, it's like I'm sitting in my truck right now, and so the dash, and this is not my analogy, I've heard it 1,000 times over the last 20 years, but when I'm driving down the road, I'm looking out the windshield, but there's a tiny little mirror right here, the rear view mirror, and every now and then you glance in it, but if you look in that rear view mirror, you're going to crash your ass into something. The thing is wherever your attention and intention and energy focus mindset is, if it's in your pain, if it's in your past, that's where you are. If it's where you want to go, that's where. It doesn't mean that it's not important. It doesn't mean that it's not something that you need to reflect on. But there's a difference in reflecting and ruminating. Ruminating is being controlled by the emotional tether of the experience, which actually isn't happening right now. It's just suffering in the mind. Reflection is, what am I learning from this experience so I can get to where the hell I'm trying to go?
Yeah. I love that. And I mean, that's the best way. Did you guys catch what he said? He said, if you're looking at the rear view, if you're staring at it, it's okay to glance at it. Okay. It's like when we talk about the labels, like attachment theory, narcissism, whatever. I don't like them. But Catherine would say, no, it's really important to understand that. Like we have different perspectives on that. But both of us are going to take you out of that. It's important information, but stop looking in the rear view and start going forward. Okay.
That's right.
Cassie says, is it normal or okay for a woman to lead? And she has a hard time with that one. And she's always wearing the pants and having to make the decisions. We put out a reel today. Look for the most recent reel with Catherine. And it's Catherine talking about that and how you can help your husband make more decisions. Okay. But the reality is women have taken over the role in the home and have to make the decisions. Everybody starts that way, right? We make a deal. He's providing, you stay home with the kids. That's the most common scenario. It might not be yours, but it's most common. So he does his job and then he comes home and he's expecting everything to be taken care of. That's the deal. See, that's this being honest with yourself. You enabled it. Just like the job sex. If you did it to manage his emotions, you enabled it. You can take these truths and move yourself forward. Cassie, is it normal? It's fucking dead straight normal. It's everywhere. But two, in a superpower couple, I believe, Catherine believes, James believes there's two leaders. Okay? There's two leaders where you have both strengths that you both use. You'll both be good at certain decisions for certain reasons. I go to my wife for many things, sometimes multiple times a day. She does the same for me because we both have strengths and we trust each other's strengths. But that's built as the partnership grows in connection. Okay.
Trusting the strengths. That's the key. You trust each other's leadership in those areas.
That's right. Yes.
And you're not butthurt when one of you comes and says, I have a question about where you're leading us in this. I just want to understand. It's not an accusation.
Yeah, correct. Okay. Trying to find it. Okay. Yes. Somebody asked, Chris, it's about being who you are, not because you expect something in return. Yes. If you are saying I love you, if you're being respectful because you're trying to keep the peace, if you are trying to prevent that fight, if you're really only doing it to get something in return. Maybe it's peace for yourself. Maybe it's intimacy for later, And so, yeah, Janine, you're very, very welcome. And Ashley, I don't know if I missed you, but you're welcome too. So if you understand that you're giving to get, you will inherently fail. That's why I told that guy in the phone call today, you're not going to do it in my program. You can't work in my program. You're going to be bad for my reputation. All you care about is saving your marriage. You don't even give a fuck. You don't understand that everything you're doing is tied to, will this work for my spouse? If that's all it is, that means you're giving to get. You're hoping for an outcome, which means you don't actually care who you are, which means you need to start understanding that who are you asking to love you? You can't even love yourself if you don't know who you are. You can't. Who have you been defending in the arguments? Why are you shutting down and because you feel hurt? Why are you fighting back when you feel hurt? Who are you protecting? You don't even know who you are.
That's right.
So what is the point of having a fucking marriage? Now, that doesn't mean, it doesn't give you the justification to quit. It means you better get your shit together or you have no chance or choice in your marriage to move it forward. Because if you don't know who you are and know where you're fucking going, what do you expect? Like, why would you expect somebody to love you if you can't love yourself? This is impossible. You don't know who you are.
That's exactly right.
Right? You're just telling yourself things that you don't want to feel bad about, which is lying. That's why we're talking about honesty today. Okay. So yeah, Jody, everyone loses themselves. Every man, every woman. They become defined by the marriage, the children, their job, whatever.
That's right.
And then they lie to themselves. Oh yeah, but I'm a giving. The ones that put on the form when they're applying for a call, they're put on the form. Oh yeah, but I'm a giving person. I love and I like to do this. You're just fucking trying to get validation for being a nice person. That's not who you are, right?
That's right.
The only reason I explain why we give so much is so you learn, right? That's not because I need validation from, right? It's because I need you to understand if you can't learn to give like this, you want respect, be fucking respectful. Seriously, that easy, right?
Yeah.
But it's hard because it hurts, right? If you understand that, you'll stop giving to get. You have to just show up knowing who you are, okay? We're going to leave right away, guys. I'll just see if there's one more good question here. I think we're all a little crazy, Lolita, but you got to get off the crazy train.
Yeah, don't ride it.
Don't ride it. Definitely don't fucking drive it.
Don't fucking drive it.
Okay, gosh. Lolita, you didn't let a man make you believe. You let yourself believe you're not worthy, important.
Right. He fed that interior belief that you already had.
Yeah, he can't do that to you. Only you can allow that to happen. And really
but
transparent.
You can escape it.
And amazing. She says she almost ended her life. I probably talked to 5 guys a week at the minimum who were on the verge of ending.
I was that
life.
guy.
That
was me.
I can't even tell you how many men, even afterwards, after I get to know him, you saved my life. One of my lead mentors, he tells that to guys all the time. I hear all the time. But and I also almost want to end my life. I thought about oncoming traffic like you wouldn't believe. I did the math on life insurance for my family, etc. So I understand it. I'm not downplaying it, but I think we got to get out of the victimhood there, right? We got to start understanding that we, in those moments, are allowing somebody to define us. So you're labeled by your husband. He can't make you do that, but you can stand in your own strength.
That's right.
I would encourage you to jump on our podcast, get in the app, get into the program would be even better for you. Okay. And James, real quick before we go, you are now heavily focused. Because we got momentum. It's called Path to Freedom, identifying who you are. It's integrated into our marriage courses. Okay. But you have now got things kicked off for women for real now. It's not just women joining the men. Is that right?
Well, what we do, yes. I mean, we're working right now. I'm going to start hosting a call for women only during the week for the momentum, for the Path to Freedom. And that'll probably start up next week. We start our cohort this week. And so I've been really, really busy on those assessments and intakes. But yeah, we're gonna have that so that there is a space there. And I'll say this too about self-harm and self-inflicted, the desired suicidal ideation. Listen, we aren't saviors. We can't change you. We're not your heroes, but we've been there. and we know the path forward, and you're going to be okay. But here's the thing, the reason we went to build a community instead of just a coaching model is that you're not alone, and you can get in
Mm-hmm.
there and you can spew and do whatever you want, and we'll reel you in and put you in a place where you know where you need to be. So
Mm-hmm.
at the minimum, understand we can't save you, but we can surely show you the way, and you have to do the work. And so don't ever think that you're alone in the world. And if you've got friends that feel alone, get in touch with us. We can get you the resources to get the help you need, which is not a mental hospital. Okay.
No, yeah.
Understand that. We can help you, but we can't save you.
No, you have to want to save yourself. You have to want more for yourself,
That's right.
right? Dan, my wife hates me. I'm not a bad person. What the fuck? I tell you something right now. Nobody
You
hates
probably are.
great people. Nobody leaves great people. Nobody has an affair on a great person. Nobody, unless there's something seriously fucking wrong with them, but I doubt it, or else she wouldn't have married him. Let's get fucking
Right.
honest with ourselves. You've done
That's
some
right.
bad shit. You've done some bad things. You're not a great person. Get it. We've all been there. Okay. All the women in Catherine's program, they've been there. Like, listen to, go back and read some of these comments from the people that are in our programs going, holy fuck, it's a different mentality. It's not
Yeah.
fluff. It's actually a new way of life. That's why I say we don't sell saving a marriage. You get the byproduct. We sell freedom. We're the only company doing it. That's why we're dominating in the marriage coaching space. Why we're dominating in really coaching in all aspects of life now. Right?
That's right.
So, excuse me. There's another one. Brian, I miss you, Brian. I haven't seen you in a bit. This guy saved my life. That guy was on the ledge. Okay. So, like, but Brian wanted more for himself. Brian, by the way, get back on the fucking app and get a community, man. I miss you. But Brian wanted more for himself. He took everything you could get from us and fucking moved. Okay. All right, guys. You guys have been awesome. I love it.
Yep.
Keep this up every week. On a whole, expect to see us here,
Yep.
same time, 3 p.m. CDT Central, and we will answer your questions. This is the best when we can be there for you. It's so important because, well, fuck, it's just awesome to help people. Okay. So
That's it.
All right. We'll see you next time, guys.
Peace out.
This is that awkward time where it takes a while to end it. All right. Oh, James is gone. See ya, guys.